Hello everyone, this is Eye on Africa for Thursday, April 28th. Here are the headlines. Coal producers in South Africa try to recover some of the market shares lost by Russia following Europe's sanctions, some of them last traded with the continent more than a decade ago. The Central African Republic makes Bitcoin its official currency alongside the CFA franc, but the move is raising eyebrows in a country with little internet access. And we take you to the Paris Saint Germain football academy in Rwanda, 6 months after it opened. We begin tonight with some of the consequences of the war in Ukraine and in the energy sector in particular. European sanctions on Russia have left a void in energy supplies, and South African coal producers are trying to recover some of those market shares. Our team in Cape Town has this report.
In Johannesburg's business district, there is a silver lining to the war in Ukraine. This businessman used to sell his coal to Asian countries. He is now being courted by European clients.
Naturally, there are two big suppliers that could replace Russian coal to Europe. It is Colombia and South Africa. And we are getting a lot of inquiries from Europe, and we started selling coal to them. We got skilled workforce, we got infrastructure, we got no issues regarding mining coal. But the issue is taking it to a port and then moving it efficiently from the port.
His company has over 1 million tons of industrial anthracite stock. Its biggest challenge is moving this commodity to be exported. South Africa's railways are damaged, and instead trucks are transporting the coal stock to port so it can be shipped. This is much more expensive than expected, but it can be done because prices have shot up. Since the crisis, the price of coal increased from 100 to more than 300 euros per ton. For this analyst, the profits are enormous. Exports are exploding.
Year on year, we exported 900% more in April than last year. So in other words, it's increased 10 times. So what we exported in 2021 has increased 10 times in 2022 to Europe.
But this surge in exports comes at a time when South African authorities promised to reduce coal production. Europe even offered South Africa more than 8 billion euros to help with its energy transition. Keeping the commitments made at COP26 in Glasgow could become increasingly challenging considering the coal industry's latest profits.
The International Monetary Fund is warning that the war in Ukraine and its effect on food and energy prices could have significant consequences in Africa. In its regional economic outlook, the agency explains that the changes could, quote, undermine food security in the region, raise poverty rates, worsen income inequality, and possibly lead to social unrest. The president of the Central African Republic has made Bitcoin an official currency. It now takes its place alongside the West African CFA franc. But in a country where only 10 to 15% of residents have internet access, the move is raising eyebrows. Laurent Bersacher has more.
Placing the Central African Republic on the map of the world's boldest and most visionary countries. That's how Central African authorities described their decision to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. But in the streets of Bangui, not everyone was aware of the move or even knew what Bitcoin was.
It's the first time I'm hearing of this. I don't know.
Do you have internet?
No, I don't.
The bill was adopted on Wednesday, but opposition MPs say they intend to challenge it in court. They argue the law's only purpose is to undermine the use of the CFA franc, a colonial-era currency backed by France and pegged to the euro, and that's still being used in 6 African countries. Many experts also warned of the risks of using Bitcoin, known for its wild and unpredictable swings. In 2021, its value oscillated between 31 and 64,000 euros. But for young, more tech-savvy Central Africans, cryptocurrency could bring about more flexibility in a country where the informal sector represents almost half of the economy.
Cryptocurrency has a huge potential for the region. To borrow or speculate, you always have to go through traditional banks, and they don't make it easy.
But with only a fraction of the country's population connected to the internet, many experts have questioned the timing of the law which comes as Russia, a close ally of Central African authorities, is looking for ways to bypass international sanctions.
Congolese authorities have launched a new vaccination campaign against Ebola. The goal is to quickly stop the spread of the disease after 2 people died in the northwestern town of Mbandaka. Some 200 doses of the vaccine have been shipped to the town. Authorities are using a so-called ring strategy, where all contacts of confirmed Ebola patients and then contacts of contacts are vaccinated first. Health workers are also jabbed at the same time. 233 contacts have been identified so far. It's the 14th Ebola outbreak in the country since 1976. The Parliament of Somalia has elected a new speaker for its lower house. 163 of the 252 MPs voted to choose Sheikh Adan Madobe. The 66-year-old previously served as speaker between 2007 and 2010 and is known for not being allied with either the president or the prime minister. The election is important because it means that Parliament will now be able to set a date for lawmakers to choose a president. That vote is more than a year behind schedule. The country has not held a one-person, one-vote election in 50 years. Military rulers in Burkina Faso and Guinea have asked ECOWAS for more time to present timelines toward a democratic transition. In a statement, the West African regional bloc said the request came after the 2 countries missed a Monday deadline. They were expected to explain how and when they would hand back power to civilians or else face immediate sanctions. France 24's Sam Bradpeace has more.
April 25th marked the deadline set by ECOWAS for the governments of Guinea and Burkina Faso to lay out a timetable for holding democratic elections. The regional bloc has already placed sanctions on both countries following coups in 2021 and 2022, respectively. Now, a communique published by ECOWAS on Wednesday actually stated that both of these countries had asked for this deadline of April 25th to be pushed back. Previously, the interim government in Guinea had said that they wouldn't be able to hold elections until the justice system is reformed, until the electoral roll is rewritten, and until corruption is rooted out, and of course, until the constitution is completely rewritten as well. But I actually spoke with the foreign minister of Guinea earlier in the day. He denied having asked ECOWAS for the elections to be pushed back, or asking for this deadline to be pushed back, I should say, despite having met with regional heads in Ghana earlier in the week. Now, the Burkinabe government has been a little bit more transparent. They've said publicly that it's just very difficult to hold elections while the country is facing a health crisis, a food crisis, and a security crisis in much of the country outside of the capital. The Burkinabe government has said it will continue to cooperate with ECOWAS. The bloc is sending missions to both countries in early May ahead of a major regional summit.
In November of last year, the Paris Saint Germain football club opened a free football academy in southern Rwanda. 6 months on, there are now 184 young talents from across the country training with a team of Rwandan coaches who all trained at PSG. The center marks the culmination of a partnership that was established between Rwanda and the French club.
Abdul has been passionate about football since he was young. He is one of the 184 young talents aged between 6 to 15 to have joined the Paris Saint Germain Academy in Rwanda. Selections were conducted throughout the country.
I do 3 training sessions a week. I do dribbling, shooting, passing.
The aim of this training center is to identify potential talents and make them progress and compete with other teams. In May, Abdul and 21 other players will take part in the PSG Academy World Cup in Paris.
Training helps me know football better. It helps me make progress. I want to become the first Rwandan player to play for PSG.
136th in the international FIFA rankings, Rwanda is not yet a football nation. To improve its image and develop the sport in the country, Kigali signed a €10 million per year partnership with Paris Saint Germain. David is one of the 4 local coaches trained by the Parisian club.
In 5 years, we will be seeing different age group playing for national team, maybe under 15, under 16, under 17, from our players in here in Huye from PSG Academy playing for our national team.
Since 2019, the Visit Rwanda logo has appeared in the Parc des Princes Stadium and on PSG training shirt, as the partnership also promotes tourism.
The benefits of the agreement between Paris Saint Germain and Kigali are social and economic. These are the benefits from tourism. The billboards, when this team is going to play, are going to be seen by everyone internationally.
Rwanda made a seminal deal in 2018 with Arsenal, which is also President Paul Kagame's favorite club. A year later, the number of tourists visiting Rwanda from Europe increased by 22%.
That does it for this edition of Eye on Africa. Thank you very much for watching. The news continues on France 24 right after this.